to Mytech's Office 365 presentation webinar that will be recorded, so we'll have questions at the end. And if you have any questions in the meantime, please raise your hand on the panel, the control panel, and I will be able to unmute you individually. But meanwhile, Tom, please take it away, Office 365.
And very good. Thanks a lot. My name's Tom Mann, and as Nate said, I'll be presenting today. So with that, we'll get started with the actual presentation. So what we're going to talk about is Office 365. I'll kind of go over what capabilities it has, why you might want to buy it, also how to buy it, the different plans Microsoft offers, and really I'll demonstrate some of it too, since we are sharing my computer, be able to log into it and show you some of Office 365. And then we'll answer questions at the end. So first of all, and want to make sure, Nate, I am coming through nice and clear, I hope.
Yeah, I hear you just fine, June.
Okay, yeah, so we'll continue on. So basically, Office 365 is an online service being hosted by Microsoft, and it is utilizing some of their most popular server software and client software. It really is comprising of Exchange Server, except Exchange Online now, SharePoint Online, Link Online, and Office Professional Plus are all part of the suite. And there are different plans that you could get these separately or as a suite or with or without Office, and I'll talk about those as we go. So this is kind of just the introductory slide. We'll talk about more of each of these and how you buy it and everything as we go. So with Office 365, you've got lots of different capabilities. It says on the slide here, best productivity experience. So really we're taking Office Professional Plus, which is really the main productivity suite on client computers in the industry. Most people use it. And we're able to use that and web versions of Office in the suite. So for example, the first bullet here is simultaneously edit documents with your colleagues. So you could actually both have a Word document open using the regular version of Word and be simultaneously adding to it, and both the edits appear and then save the document like you worked on it by yourself. That's one of the capabilities. Same thing with Excel, PowerPoint, and OneNote all have the ability for co-authoring. Each one has different caveats, though. Like the Word version, you do have to use the regular version of Word that you would have on your PC, and the documents would be on the SharePoint Online portion. So it works very well, though, where Excel could actually use the version of Excel on your PC, and the web version of Excel also has that capability. In addition, you have the ability to conduct meetings with your coworkers or business partners. It's not a full webinar suite included like we're using today with Citrix. It's meant more for smaller type meetings, but definitely, it could be large meetings too with people in your company or with a small amount of partners. But it supports web conferencing, internet and video, internet audio and video. They're all part of the meeting capability. You also get the ability with SharePoint Online, which is part of it, to create My Sites for your users where they could have personal information that then can be searched across the company, so that the personal information could be skill sets that that person might have, so that when you go to search you could know who has what skill set. But it also gives the person the ability to have their own personal area to keep all sorts of information. That's the My Sites capability. Some parts of the My Sites you could expose to different people, and others you could keep private. Also calendaring, we have full calendaring capability with the Exchange Online portion. And we could publish our calendars in Outlook, share them with partners, send message or meeting requests to people, of course. Everything works just as seamlessly as it always did, but now our information is online instead of on a local server. In addition, the ability to set up and create different web environments where you could have shared documents, tasks, different lists, custom lists of information where you could import Excel sheets into and then use them like a little mini database, except you imported it from Excel. Lots of different capabilities. The next piece, Access Anywhere, which is really about getting into the Exchange portion or into Office 365 from really anywhere you are. So the idea is we could use, which is displayed here, Outlook web app, and it's fully supported, cross-browser support with full capability, so Internet Explorer, Firefox, Safari. Actually, Outlook web app supports Google Chrome also. Different things we could do with that. Oops, I didn't mean to go back so quickly. In addition, the idea is you can use Outlook web app or regular Outlook, Outlook 2010 or 2007, have that on your PC, laptop, whatever, and connect in like you always did if you used Outlook. But again, from anywhere, because it'll connect with a secure connection over to Office 365's Exchange Online. Also in the middle, we have full line of different phones that would work. So you have Windows phones like Windows Phone 7, Nokia-based phones that support Exchange Active Sync, Android phones that support Exchange Active Sync, iPhones, and also a BlackBerry service is going to be introduced very shortly, which will give full capability for BlackBerry in just a couple months. So that's a little about Access Anywhere, or the experience the user gets. I'll bring up the next slide here. And, it works with what you know, meaning, again, you're using Outlook, you're using Outlook and Outlook web app. We could actually do hybrid deployments where if someone has an existing on-premise Exchange environment, you could have that migrate to the online, or you could integrate with that existing environment with the Exchange and with the local Active Directory if you want, and create kind of a unified environment where when they log into their Active Directory, they're also logging into the online. So all that is supported and optional. You don't have to integrate if you don't want to, because there's some administrative work for the administrator to integrate. So we have the option of doing that or not, which gives us a lot of capability. All right. Here's an example again of Outlook web app, which when you first look at it, it's going to look a lot like regular Outlook and have a lot of capabilities as the normal Outlook you have on a PC. Very rich experience. Another piece of this is really enterprise security and reliability. Microsoft has enterprise-class data centers around the world running this solution. They offer a money-back or service-level agreement of 99.9% uptime. They are certified with all the different compliances. And also, even, for example, like their Exchange, in addition to redundant data centers, the Exchange data is replicated to multiple Exchange servers. If for some reason an Exchange server went down, they have near instantaneous switch over to another Exchange server. And they guarantee if an entire data server is down that they'll get you back up and connected to one of the other data centers in an hour. In the unlikely event they lose an entire data center for some reason. Just bringing up the next slide here. You also get in many of the plans, there are different plans which we'll go over very shortly. In most of the plans there's 24/7 phone support, and you could open tickets via the phone or kind of web-based if you had any problems. In the enterprise plans, you could use that phone support for deployment or migration or different issues like that that you need help with. In more the small business package, which we'll take a look at, in that case, you would open tickets if you're having a specific problem. You also get a panel, as you see on the lower left, where it shows your uptime and availability, so that if for some reason there is any service outage, it would show up on your panel of how much that was or how long and what type of service you're getting. There's also different levels of administration that can be handed out to the users. And remote PowerShell, which is in the enterprise plans, the ability for someone who wants to do PowerShell scripting, you could actually connect in with PowerShell securely and manipulate your Office 365 users and your Exchange settings actually for their mailboxes. Could all be done with PowerShell commands. So a lot of good capability there. All right, we'll move to the next slide. Now, just to review the main components, we have SharePoint Online, which, for those that aren't familiar with it, is a web-based solution that allows us to create sites and document libraries. We could set policies on those document libraries, optional if we want to, for retention reasons. You could enable version tracking on those document libraries to check in and check out and revert to previous versions of documents. You could create calendars, tasks lists, schedules, all different things like that. And those could all be linked to Outlook on the user's PC, so that you could go into Outlook and go in your folder list and you could have SharePoint items appear there, even in SharePoint Online. That way, Outlook is in cached mode. You could take your PC, your laptop offline, and still have access to the documents that are in the cloud that are on your SharePoint server because they're cached to your Outlook. Make changes to the documents when you come back to the office, have Outlook sync back up, and update the documents on SharePoint Online. For someone who's the real-world warrior, they could also use another client application, SharePoint Workspace, which could synchronize all of the SharePoint server or entire sections of it if you want to. SharePoint does give you the ability to store data, and I accidentally bumped a button. So it's actually 10 gig for a subscription, plus then 500 megabytes per user license. So for example, 100 users would be 60 gigabytes of storage on SharePoint. You also get Exchange online. They're giving a huge amount of storage for the Exchange users, actually 25 gigabytes of storage per user, which is an extremely large amount actually. So that gives users lots of flexibility. It also is giving the users antivirus and anti-spam protection by default on the server side. So the big advantage here is we not only don't have to administer the server, say the Exchange server or the SharePoint server, we don't have to worry about buying antivirus for the server because Microsoft's taking care of all that. Link Online is the other one some of you may not be familiar with. Link, and you install a client piece on each PC. It's a small program that connects to the Link Online, and it gives us instant messaging and presence as one of the main features, plus PC-to-PC audio and video calling, so other Link users basically. It's all secure, which is another thing to note, the instant messaging, the voice, and the video. Plus, it is able to work with the rest of Office, like Outlook and SharePoint and the other Office applications. So they're all integrated into each other. And then, of course, Office Pro Plus. This Office Pro Plus is a full version of Office Pro Plus that gets installed on the user's PC. It actually could be installed from Office 365, where it pushes it down to the user's PC and then installs it there. Or an administrator could download the Office 365 version of Office Professional Plus and install it anyway, however they want, either walk over to the PC or use group policies or something to push out that install. The idea then is the SharePoint, Exchange, and Link or servers are all online and run by Microsoft, and then the user can still use their traditional Office Pro Plus. The only difference of this version of Office is it's licensed differently. You don't actually enter the traditional product keys that you normally enter. It's licensed from Office 365. The other interesting thing is it's licensed per user in Office 365, and a user has the right to install it on up to 5 PCs or 5 devices, basically, which is excuse me, totally different than the traditional version of Office, the way it's licensed. All right, I'm going to move on here. So Office 365 is really good for organizations, for enterprise customers, small and medium customers. So really all size could take advantage of it. The one thing that small to medium is getting is their servers now become fully enterprise class solutions run in an enterprise data center. And yet the small businesses, small to medium business, now get access to that level of support and level of availability. On the enterprise side, we have all kinds of solutions that integrate with their existing network, or they don't have to. There's the option to do that. And then we have different plans on the enterprise side for different levels of features that they might want, like if they want kiosk workers for diskless workstations, or if they want upgrade some of their solutions or migrate to this slowly or quickly. There's different solutions for all that can be talked about. Now, one of the first plans I want to introduce here is the P1 plan. So us Office 365 people are, we use the little letters, plan P1, which the name of that is the Small Business and Professionals Plan. This plan is giving us all 4 main components here, the 3 main components. Well, it's giving us Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, and Link Online, and then Office Web Apps. So Office Web App is the light or web versions of some of the Office applications that can be used with the SharePoint Online. Outlook Web App is included with the Exchange Online. So this doesn't include Office Pro Plus like some of the other plans I'll show you do. So if someone wants to use regular Office, like Office 2007 or 2010 they already have on their PCs, they can definitely do that and use it with this plan. This plan just doesn't upgrade your Office or include regular Office. But it does have the web apps, which I'll demonstrate for you in a few minutes. Some other specific things about this plan, though, is it is intended for 1 to 25 users, and it can grow up to 50 users. It doesn't include phone support. They have self-help and community support, and then you could open a ticket on the web portal if for some reason something's not working, like if someone's mailbox is stuck or someone accidentally deleted the mailbox, something like that. Then you open a web ticket to get service, basically. So you still get service, you just don't have 24/7 phone support with the P1 plan. The big thing with the P1 plan is we're getting all of these servers functionality for $6 per user per month, so it is a very affordable plan. Now, things that it doesn't include that the higher plans would support is if we want to integrate with our existing Active Directory that we might have on our network and we want to synchronize with it, or if we want compliance-based archiving for the mailboxes, or utilizing that BlackBerry Enterprise Services. And then, of course, growing beyond 50 users and the 24/7 support. If we need any of those things, then we move up to the enterprise plans. Really, the main plans are what we're calling information worker plans, which I'll show you more specifically. There's 4 of them on the next slide. But we also have the kiosk worker, and that's for someone It's meant for like a plant floor of a factory where they might have a diskless workstation or a kiosk in front of a building. So it is very limited access. There are two plans, K1 and K2. K1 is completely read-only from, say, a SharePoint standpoint, and then K2 only allows editing of documents that are existing on there. So the kiosk plans are to be used only in certain situations. Typically, you would be going with the E plans if you need something beyond the small business version. So the E plans offer 25 gig mailboxes and 500 meg of additional storage per user in addition to the 10 gig. Also, there's plans that have Office Pro Plus actually in it, and we'll look at that on the next slide, which is right here. So this is the Enterprise E plan family. We have E1, 2, 3, and 4, and each one gets more expensive, but it gives you a lot more features, basically. So popular ones, well, I get people looking at all four, frankly, depending on what you want. So most of them, all these plans are suites that have Exchange, SharePoint, and Link. And then as we move up, the features of some of them increase. Like you'll notice on the little boxes, the gray boxes, we go from Exchange Plan 1 to Exchange Plan 2 when we get to E3. That's given us more Exchange features. So for example, Exchange Plan 2 supports additionally beyond the 25 gig of storage an unlimited archive for each user, where we could do legal hold and compliance-based protection for the mailboxes. For Exchange Plan 1 in E1 and E2 just gives you the straight 25 gig, and users could set up personal archive, but it uses their 25 gig. Same thing with the other plans. As we move up, we get more features. Office Web App, which is a very useful web-based version of the Office apps, makes it much quicker to access different applications when you're on the SharePoint server. That starts in the E2 plan. So Microsoft always likes to have a lot of flexibility for cost to benefit the users and a lot of choice. And you'll see the E1 starts at $10 and E4 $27, and that's per user per month. We could also add storage to SharePoint, for instance, and things like that. There are add-ons. If I move on, we also have, as I mentioned before, the kiosk plans. So there's K1, which is just Exchange and SharePoint. The SharePoint is completely read-only in this case, so the users are getting read access to the SharePoint server. And then the Exchange portion is using Outlook Web App only, so you don't get traditional Outlook access in the kiosk plans. It's just for web-based only. With a K2 plan is adding Office Web App capability. Again, it's all web-based, and now this user and SharePoint can edit documents that are already published, but they're not licensed to actually upload documents, so it's meant for a diskless workstation. So in most cases, we're usually looking at the E plans or the P1 plan for users, but usually not the kiosk plans, but they are available. One other thing I wanted to mention before we go on to the demonstration is I don't actually have in the presentation at the moment, but in addition to the E plans, which I'll move back up to that, you can buy these a la carte. So if you just wanted Exchange by itself, you could buy Exchange Plan 1 or Exchange Plan 2 by themselves. Exchange Plan 1 is $5 a month by itself, and Exchange Plan 2 is $10 a month if you do that by itself. Same thing with SharePoint and Link and Office Pro Plus. They all could be purchased a la carte. If you're going to do multiples, these suites end up cheaper, but in some cases, a la carte might be the way to go. All right, with that, I'm going to actually move over. I brought down the PowerPoint. Go ahead.
Hey, Tom, so this is Nate chiming in. There's a question that was asked, I think it was appropriate relative to what you're just going through. Can you have, the question is, can you have users at various levels, such as, you know, what if you had a mix of, say, kiosk users and regular corporate enterprise users, and so maybe have a K1, a couple K1 or K2 plans for users, and then maybe have some other people at like E2 or E3? Is that something that can be mixed and matched?
Yeah, that's a great question, and absolutely. Basically, you can buy whatever licenses you want, and then you apply them to the users in the admin portal, which I happen to just bring up the admin portal for us to look at. So this is the admin portal, and first thing we'll look at is the licensing in just a moment. But this is a portal where users could also come. If they don't have administrative rights, they would just get the home Outlook and Teams site. Teams site is a SharePoint site, Outlook is Outlook web app. If they want to use the portal, or they could go directly to those sites without using the portal. But administrators come to the admin tab to do a lot of the administration. So if I go to licensing, that'll show me that I have 2 plans, an E3 and a K2. And if I go to manage, well, no, not manage, users. If I go into a particular user, I can assign what licenses I want that user to have. So right now this user is assigned the E3 plan. I could take that all away and give them the K2 plan, or if I purchased any other plans or a la carte, I could check that and then the user would have those licenses. So you could mix and match with your users any way you want. So that works nicely actually. So excellent question. And that allowed us to show a little bit of the administration. So this is where if I was doing fully online version of Office 365, meaning I'm not integrating with the local Active Directory, which we can't do, I would come here to create the users, and then once they're created, give them the licenses they need. I can change passwords here. If I go back to the root of the admin tab, I also could do other things like go into the Exchange management, link management, and SharePoint management if you've paid for all those licenses. These managements are designed to be easier to use than the on-premise versions. That's the whole point, is to make this easier for administration and lower cost, but still give us a lot of flexibility of what we can do. And I'll go into maybe a couple of these in a moment. In addition, I could deploy Office Pro Plus to my machine if it wasn't already on my machine from right here. So I could come into here. Right now, since I've already got it deployed, I could read the documents about how to deploy the desktop applications through the portal, or download them and deploy them manually. All right, so let me take a look at, let's go into the SharePoint Online first. As I come into here,
just a time check, about 5 minutes left before I want to make sure to keep on everybody's time here.
Okay.
So we can have some time for Q&A, just so you know.
All right, very good. So I'm just going to quickly go into SharePoint, and this is the administration where I can create SharePoint sites. So right now I have 2 SharePoint sites. If I come into one, I can bring up a SharePoint site, and this is a basic SharePoint kind of a collaboration site where I can create document libraries and lists of information, do calendaring and things like that. In addition, it's showing me how much storage is used and different things like that. Another piece is, I mentioned Link. Let's actually look at Link for a moment. We'll do it fairly quickly. Excuse me. This is actually a Link client I have that's connected to Link, and I'm just maneuvering it to get it on the screen. And it allows me to connect to different people a variety of ways. I can instant message them, call them, start a video call, share my desktop with them, all right from Link. And Link, puts my picture on there. So right now, actually, I'll put busy. It also, I could highlight multiple users and do group conversations, so I could IM multiple people at the same time. And Link itself, well, I could do a whole half-hour, 45-minute presentation just on Link or more. But it's a unified communications, and it's a messaging solution, basically, from Microsoft. And then you use the client software, everything's online, and you can start collaborating. You could also federate with Link on the server side, so that in the Link Online, you could go list by domain name other partners you want to federate with. And if they have Link Online or traditional on-premise Link, you can then communicate with them directly and securely using Link. So that's another capability we have with the solution. If I come back to the portal, let me just get back over there. I'm actually going to go to Outlook. I'll open a new tab here. So this would be my Outlook mailbox using Outlook web app, which I've mentioned a few times. So this is the web version of Outlook, basically. And I'm not currently signed in, but right here, the link information could also appear here in Outlook web app, so you could chat with people from there. But it looks just like Outlook, except it's the web version connecting to the online version of Exchange Server. I think that's the major things we talked about that I wanted to show. We talked about the different suites, the plans, what Office 365 has in it, and showing a little of the software. So with that, maybe let's take a look at the questions.
All right, so some questions have been posted here through the presentation. So first of all, say thanks, Tom, for going through the demonstration. And I don't know if you could post, maybe you go back to the beginning of your slideshow just to show something on the screen that's there. But one of the questions was with regard to the Office Pro Plus license that you get with Office 365, and you can have it on to 5 different devices. How does that work cross-platform between Mac and PC? How can you elaborate on that or see how that would apply?
Yeah, the version that you are getting through the plan is the Windows version. It currently is Office 2010 Pro Plus. So it's not the Mac version.
So if someone, however, was running, say, Windows 7 on a Mac platform, they could still use the Office Pro Plus on the virtualized Win 7 that's running.
Yeah, on a Mac you could dual boot to Windows or do a virtualized Windows. You have options on a Mac. So if they're running Windows on that Mac, then yeah, they could definitely run the Office Pro Plus if they put Windows on there. So the key is the Pro Plus that is coming in this is for Windows. Now, of course, Microsoft does sell Office for the Mac, but that would be purchased separately and would still work with Office 365, but it's just not part of any of the plans.
Very good. Okay, so thank you very much. I'm getting some other questions here. So if here's an example. If you just get Exchange for $5 a month, I think that's the E1 Exchange, or not E1, but the Exchange level one. Does this include anti-spam and offsite redundancy, or is the redundancy extra money?
Yeah, the Exchange Plan 1, which is purchased by itself for $5, is giving you Exchange, and the Exchange is redundant in Microsoft data centers and protected and backed up. Excuse me. And it includes antivirus and anti-spam on the Exchange side.
Okay.
None of the antivirus and anti-spam is client side, so you're not getting software you're loading on your PC from an antivirus standpoint.
Gotcha. Okay, very good. So, many companies use a traditional spam filter, have a third-party spam filter in front of their Exchange server, and what you're saying is that through this, the Microsoft plan, they wouldn't need that additional spam filter because it's included in the program.
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So here's another question. Just going through a couple different ones here. Is there a question about, is there a component that could be marketed to individuals or families, such as getting Office Pro Plus for the household on a subscription basis rather than buying a disc? I don't know if that's just trying to get at, how it might be used, between, I know some people in some of the Office licenses allow for home use license. Is there a program that has been either A, for Office Pro Plus to be for your home use or to be able to use at the level?
Well, not specifically. I mean, if someone did, say, the E3 plan or added Office Pro Plus a la carte, and they're given the user licenses, I mean, they could install it on up to 5 PCs, which, could include home PCs if they wanted to. The Small Business and Professionals plan is meant for home use, but that does not include obviously Office Pro Plus, so really someone would have to really, for home, buy the home version of Office. There's the home and business version of Office that typically you'd get in home, or on your PC you'd get the OEM version.
But there's no real, unlike when you buy Office, you can have a business and a personal. There's no real personal and business plan on Office 365. I mean, these are just the plans.
Yeah,
right.
That's true. The plans I showed are the ones they have. There is lower-end plans I didn't show too. Like there is an Exchange kiosk plan that's just Exchange by itself, which is just giving you Exchange, web version of Exchange for a low cost.
Okay, well, we can take some of those questions offline too. I've got all the questions and who asked them, so I can make sure to dig in with the respective folks. But here's a couple other questions. For instance, I think email archiving has been definitely been a more prevalent question to come up. And so one about the Exchange Level 2 is the one that includes email archiving. But a question was asked here is, can existing archive data be uploaded into Office? So people had up in Office 365. So if they have an existing archive locally on their server or on their local machine, is that something that they can upload into Office 365?
Okay, well, it's slightly more complicated than the way you said it. So Exchange Plan 2 has additional storage for archive near unlimited, or your license for unlimited. Exchange Plan 1 does have a personal archive. It just uses part of your 25 gig. But it doesn't give you compliance level protection, like you can't put mailboxes in legal hold like you could do in Exchange Plan 2. So both plans have some form of archive, Plan 1 and Plan 2 is what I'm getting at. The other part of your question was uploading. So basically, say if you have auto-archived or archives on your PC like personal storage files, those could easily be dragged into the personal archive area of Plan 1 or Plan 2. So we can bring in those PSTs. Now to fully then use the personal archive, we do need to use Office 2010 or Outlook 2010 or the Outlook web app to have full capability with the personal archive.
Okay, very good. What about, there's another question that this gets a little technical, but I know that it's a concern of people, even, just whenever you do a migration between Exchange servers, getting a new one. Similarly, is there a strategy or what tools available to migrate from an on-premise Exchange solution to the hosted version? And you also even earlier mentioned kind of the hybrid Exchange mode. Does that kind of apply here? Can you elaborate on that?
It does. There are really two main migration ways. One is to do a cutover migration where you use a migration tool and pull the information from on-premise or wherever it is and pull it into the online, and then the online is run separately. So built in is a migration tool, and it could point to Exchange, it could use Outlook Anywhere style connection to your Exchange server, an Exchange 2003 and higher, and fully pull all the mail up. Or it could use an IMAP4 connection, which is an older, different protocol, and connect to Exchange 2000 and up and migrate your data up. And that's a built-in free tool called the Exchange Migration Tool. That would be what you would use if you wanted to completely move everything online and not integrating integrate into anything locally. One difficulty with that would be if you use the cutover migration as I described, you do have to then change your Outlook manually to point to the new online version on each of the PCs if you're using Outlook, because you're switching mailboxes and using a migration tool. The hybrid exchange is integrating to your local exchange server so that your on-premise Exchange 2010 that you might have can integrate into the online Exchange servers and work together like they're in the same Exchange organization. Then at any time you could use the Exchange traditional management tools and use the traditional move mailbox method and move mailboxes at your own convenience up to the online version, or move them back if you want to. So the hybrid method requires additional stuff to be run at your on-premise location, but gives maximum flexibility. It also gives us full single sign-on capability because we can integrate into local Active Directory too. So those are some of the.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go on that too. Is that there? What plans? There are certain plans where that single sign-on capability is enabled, because I've had questions before from people asking, do I need to manage different passwords now? So do I have one password when I log into my network, and then do I have a different password that I need to maintain when I log into my my Exchange?
Sure.
So can you touch on that?
Absolutely. First of all, from a plans standpoint, the P1 plan is the only one that really doesn't support, because that's the small business plan, it does not support federation or Active Directory integration. All the enterprise plans, which are really all the other plans, do support federating with your Active Directory and doing that level of integration. Another point on that is we can do federation with your Active Directory with or without the hybrid exchange. So hybrid exchange integrates your Exchange. But let's say, for example, we don't integrate with Exchange. We can still integrate with Active Directory by itself to give single sign-on. In that case, you would have no local Exchange. All your Exchange would be online, but would be integrated into your local Active Directory. When users go to log into Windows, they log into Windows, and simultaneously they get access to local and online resources. If you don't log in or integrate into Active Directory, then you do get a separate username and password for online.
Very good. Perfect. Well, I believe that there are a couple other questions, but we're running at the end of the time, and one of the things I always want to do is make sure that we stay on time for these and respect everyone's schedule. So I want to say thank you to everyone who participated and asking questions. For future reference, this webinar was recorded and will be on Mytech's website, and we'll be following up with each of you to make sure that you had all your questions, any questions you may have answered, as well as to make sure you have access to the webinar if it's something you want to watch again. So I want to thank Tom for going through the material and being the experts, the subject matter experts. So thank you very much, Tom, for your time and your expertise. And thank everyone else. And we're going to sign off. So have a great day.
Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.